Right, here we go with this one from the start. Analysis. Who was at fault for Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri's USGP sprint crash? So we've got Karun, Chandok and Jenson Button chatting shit. So let's have a listen to what these cocksuckers have to say.
Yeah, thank you very much, Simon. We just had Nico Hulkenberg here who came down. He hadn't actually seen the incident, so Jensen and I were just showing it to him for the first time, which does happen, isn't it? You know, when you're a racing driver, you haven't had a chance to go watch it. You've arrived straight here. Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really understand the angles or anything that's happened or where people are around you while you're in the car. It's very difficult. So, yeah, we cleared out.
Yeah, we're all motor racing drivers, and when you're in the car, you can't really understand where people are around you. No, you need to be able to understand where people are around you, Jensen. Yeah, that's part and parcel of being a motor racing driver. But don't you worry, little head.
For him.
And let's try and clear it up for everyone else.
Let's try and clear it up, Karen.
So, now let's first look at it from off-board, Jensen, because Verstappen, good start, cuts to the inside. Oscar got a better start than Lando, gets his nose in front. And at this stage, it all looks quite normal, right?
Right, at this stage, it all looks quite normal. Turning to corner. You see Max is turning in, Lando's turning in, right? Oscar will be turning in, but Oscar's holding back so he can try and kind of come through up the inside now. He's realised going around the outside's not going to be the move to do, so he's going to try and do a switchery. But there's nothing up the inside of Oscar like that's challenging Oscar, is it? These cars here are well back. They've got no entitlement whatsoever to put a challenge in on Oscar because we're through the braking zone of the corner. They're not at least halfway alongside on his inside. They've got no entitlement to be left any track room whatsoever going around the corner. First lap incident or not, the conditioning of everybody is that lap one, turn one, anything can happen, it's a free-for-all. No, the rules of engagement still apply. Okay, these the guidelines, these bullshit driving standards guidelines, which have talked about how bullshit they are in the previous video, okay, they still apply. It's not just a free-for-all on lap one, turn one. No, you see, here we've got Alonso. He's at least halfway alongside Hulkenberg, so Hulkenberg has to leave Alonso room. Okay, that's the way it is. This is a car on the outside of Hulkenberg. Is he fully alongside on entry to the corner? No, he's not. So he's got to yield. He's got to back off. Okay, these still apply. All it means is if there's a bit of a kerfuffle at lap one, turn one, and cars have to depart the track to avoid incidents, then stewards will look upon that as taking evasive action due to congestion, due to the volume of cars in that location at that time, which is pretty unique because you don't normally get that because after that the cars spread out a bit and there becomes more space. Okay, but that's all it is. Rules of engagement still apply. These cars here are not in a position to be able to challenge Oscar Piastri. Oscar is entitled, being ahead of those, to take the line that he is able to take without having to consider these cars here because they're behind him. With them being behind him, they are the ones responsible for not contacting him. So,
I'm just going to pause it here because at this point, I think let's go back a couple of frames. At this point,
Hulkenberg's still fully behind Piastri. Still fully behind Piastri.
I think Hulkenberg's aware Alonso's coming down the inside. He's expecting Oscar.
It's not about expecting, okay? It's not about expecting. It's where are you? Oh, but I thought he was going to do this. Okay, doesn't matter what you think, okay? It's matter what is. If you're driving your car on the road, okay, you can't just say, oh, I thought the car in front of me was going to go straight on, but they ended up turning. And they slowed down to turn and I just smashed into the back of them. Because I thought they were going to do something different. Doesn't matter, you're still at fault. You've hit something from behind. Doesn't matter what you thought they were going to do. Yes, it's not good driving from them in front of you if they didn't indicate to you, or if their brake lights weren't working and therefore you didn't get notification that they were braking and slowing down. But you're not going to get that in a Formula One car because there's no brake lights. On a road car, yes, it's illegal, but you've just smashed into the back end of them. And now the evidence is gone because you've smashed out the light clusters, taking out the brake bulbs anyway, so there's no proving whether the brake lights came on or not, unless you've got a dash cam. And the onboards. Okay, it's your responsibility. If you're the car behind, you don't hit the car that's in front of you. They do something, you've got to react to it, not smash into them. You smash into them, it's your fault.
To carry on there, and then he carries on here, he goes on there, and it's all should be clear and fine, but that's not what happens. Go on.
Advert. Let me just fast forward this.
What do you think at this point?
No, I totally agree with you. And
What happens? Go on. What do you think at this point?
no,
Tell us what you think, Jensen, in the comments section.
I totally agree with you. And we've watched this.
We all agree with each other. We all have a little circle jerk and affirm one another as being so learned. Yes, absolutely right there, Karen. Yes, I totally agree with you. Yes, we're all knowledgeable racing drivers. Real racers, aren't we all?
A few times now. The issue is that obviously Oscar's seen Lando at turn one. He's gone a bit deep, and he's like, right, I'm going to slow the car down. I'm going to switch back and get a.
Yeah, so Lando goes a bit deep, okay, which would have meant had Oscar stayed on the outside, he'd have had to go even deeper to remain on the outside. So Oscar's gone, oh, actually, I'm seeing what's going on there because I'm a racing driver. I can see what the other car's actually doing. I realise that he's going deep. Therefore, I can switch back on him. Oh, because he's good. Yeah, he can actually read what the other cars are doing. He can assess their speed and know, therefore, what line that's going to take them around the corner. Funny which drivers have got that ability and which ones haven't.
Good exit, which is fine in a race situation when you're racing just one other car. But when you have 17 cars braking as late as they can into turn one.
When you have 17 cars braking as late as they can into turn one, no, it's their responsibility to make allowances for each and every one of the cars around them. That's not mitigation, Jensen. Now, I'll caveat that with this. What we see from one of the greatest drivers you'll ever see, Lewis Hamilton, okay, is often you will see Hamilton drive in a manner where you feel as an observer wanting him to do well, that sometimes you would like to see a little bit more, what's the word? I don't like using the word aggression because aggression indicates the notion of being forceful. And when you're talking about being forceful in a motor car, that's almost like being willing to shove the other car with your car, and that's not what it's about. Okay. What I mean is, when we're talking about Hamilton, is often he will back away and take extra evasive action to try to avoid contact. And that compromises him. When really you feel that he should either hold his ground to ensure that the other car is made to back out, isn't given that space. But the problem is, what if the other car doesn't back out? Like Hulkenberg here. Hulkenberg had no right to be there. He didn't back out. You hold your line. You don't give him the extra room, even though you shouldn't have to. But if you don't, then what happens? Oh, you get hit. You shouldn't be getting hit. Oh, but that ends your race. Who's at fault? The car behind. Yeah, but it was his fault. Doesn't matter. You're still out of the race. So that's what you see a lot of these days, more of from Lewis Hamilton. He's not perfect. Nobody is. But what you see in his driving style tends to be a more pragmatic style of driving, whereby if he sees another car coming and makes the assessment that that car is on a collision course for him, rather than say, well, I'm entitled to this line, I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to make that car have to back out. Well, Lewis Hamilton will go, I'm getting out of the way of this. And he might lose position, but he's not out of the race. And it is frustrating as a watcher to see somebody have to do that, causing them a loss of position. But that's an experienced driver making a decision on the grounds of, I don't want to be crashed out of this race. And what should be taking place here is competitors in the sport should be afforded the protection of the stewards of that sport to say, you've just had to take evasive action to avoid being collided into. The manoeuvre that was just made was out of control, and had the other driver had you not have taken that evasive action, the other driver would have collided with you, and because of the manoeuvre they've just put in, they've then benefited from it. And we're going to reverse that, and we're going to penalise them for that, but that's not what we get now. The kiddies like the crashes. The kiddies like the argy-bargy, the elbows out, the uncompromising, because you've all been told that's the best you've ever seen. That's the best you've ever seen. But kiddies, when you've made it, when you've become a CEO at 21 as well, when you're living your best life, okay, with all your yachts, your supercars and your bitches, when you've got all of that, okay, and your watches and everything, all living your best life, and you've got your Lamborghini that you like racing around the track, that's cost you 250 grand in race trim, plus another 250 grand to have a team around you to run it at that race. Would you like coming up against another driver that was a bit elbows out, argy-bargy, uncompromising, that just fucked it into your Lamborghini? Would you like that? No, you probably wouldn't, would you? Because there's rules, okay? There's rules, and you wouldn't like somebody just going, fuck the rules, I'm just going to fuck my car into yours, and if you don't get out the way, unlucky. No, you've just smashed my car up when you shouldn't have done that. We're not playing stock cars, okay? I didn't buy a 300 quid banger to go banger racing in, okay? I bought a race car. They cost money, okay? And you've just smashed into it, you cunt. So back up, right? That's what it is. That's the way it works. Anyway.
It just never works because you'll end up with a car on your side.
And then, now let's go on board, because this is the Hulkenberg on the left, Piastri.
It just never works because you'll end up with a car in your side. No, that shouldn't be happening though, Jensen, should it? Shouldn't be happening.
Braking as late as they can into turn one.
Right, it's not braking as late as you can. It's driving to the conditions, Jensen. Okay, as late as you can. Oh, well, if you've got a car that's there, you have to put your foot on the brake. You can't go, oh, wow, I didn't want to brake there. I wanted to brake as late as I could. No, you had to brake early because there was a car there that you weren't allowed to drive into.
It just never works because you'll end up with a car on your side.
And then...
No, not if the driver is driving appropriately. Not if Hulkenberg knows that, okay, I've got a car in front of me, it's entitled to pick its line around the corner, and therefore I have to back out of this. Oh, I've got a car on the inside. Oh, that's Alonso. Oh, he's probably going to overtake me because I'm having to back out to yield for the car that's now blocking my path in front of me. Unlucky. That's the way it works.
Now let's go on board, because this is the Hulkenberg on the left, Piastri on the right, and let's try and illustrate and really replay what you've just talked about. So slow it right down. So at this point, Hulkenberg's looked in his mirror. He just told us.
There's Piastri. We'll play this again. Listen to the engine note.
So slow it right down. So at this point, Hulkenberg's looked in his mirror.
You're hearing the down changes. Braking zone for the corner. At the braking zone for the corner, if you're trying to make the overtaking manoeuvre on the inside, your car has to be at least halfway alongside the car that you're seeking to overtake. Okay, that is the regulation. Well, it's not regulation. This is the driving standards. Okay, this is the rules of engagement. Where is him relative to Piastri? Well, there's at least a car's length between him and Piastri. Braking zone of the corner. He's nowhere near him. Absolutely nowhere near him. Is entitled to nothing around this corner.
Just told us as well, he saw Fernando coming.
Right. Now, can you read what's going on here, Nico? Oscar was alongside Lando, right? Look at this.
So at this point, Hulkenberg's looked in his
He's ahead of Lando at that point in time. Slightly ahead is Oscar. Okay, and now look at what's going on.
mirror. He just told us as well, he saw Fernando coming. So
Oh, what's going on now? Oh, you can see that he's dropping back. What do you think he's likely to be doing, Hulkenberg? What do you think that Oscar's likely to be doing? And you're still a car length behind him.
he can't go further to the left. Oscar's steering angle
Yeah, so Hulkenberg can't go to the left because he's got Alonso up his inside.
there indicates he's going to follow Lando around.
Oscar's steering angle there indicates he's gonna bullshit Karun. Okay, do you think that Nico Hulkenberg is looking at Oscar Piastri's steering angle? Can he see into his cockpit over there? No, he can't. No, he can. All he can do is look at his car and look at his car relative to to Lando Norris's car. Oh, he was slightly ahead of him. Now he's dropping back. What do you think he might try and do going around this corner? Oh, if he's dropping back and picking in behind him, oh, he's going to slot in behind him, coming across there, isn't he? Oh, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
But now this is the bit that he cuts across, isn't it? Let's actually, you know what? Let's show people full frame.
Oh, full frame. So rather than show us from Nico Hulkenberg, you showed us from Oscar Piastri because you want to incriminate Oscar by showing us Oscar Piastri's steering input.
There, Oscar turns in. I mean, look at his hands at this point. He's got 180 degrees full steering lock. And you cut to Hulkenberg at this stage.
Too late now, isn't it? Why don't you play us through the bit that was like the half a second in between where you left off and now here? Now, these bullshit guidelines, okay? These bullshit guidelines where overtaking on the inside, have its front axle at least alongside the mirror of the other car prior to and at the apex. And as I've said, prior to, what does that mean? Where is prior to? An undefined point in time. Nobody knows where prior to is. That could be an infinite number of positions prior to. Prior to the apex, he had his front tyre alongside the mirror. Which prior to? At what point is prior to? Now, here's his wing mirror, right? Here's his front wheel. He's not, at that point, he's not entitled to room around this corner. The car in front is entitled to pick the line that they want to pick around this corner. This car is required to back out. Back out. You're on a motor racing track. You've not reached the required position to be afforded track room on the inside of that car going around this corner. Back out. That's the way it works.
He suddenly realized, oh goodness, he's coming towards my car.
Yeah.
There's nothing Nico could do.
No, nothing.
Oh, he suddenly realised you shouldn't be there. You should not be there. You were a car's length behind in the braking zone. Now, at the corner, you're trying to get yourself alongside of it. You had to back out well before then.
So even if Fernando wasn't on the inside, look at how much steering lock that Piastri has.
Oh, it's nothing to do with steering lock, though, is it, cocksucker? Cocksucker button. It's nothing to do. Oh, yeah. Piastri's steering lock. Absolute sausage.
Hulkenberg has to do the same thing, but he's reacted late to it.
Hulkenberg has no. Hulkenberg has to not be there. Hulkenberg has to back out and not try and put his car up the inside of Piastri going around this corner.
Because you're reacting to what the car is doing in front.
Yeah, and he didn't do that, did he? At the braking zone, prior to the corner, Where was he? Where was he? Okay, established. Here it is. If it's been established from point A and B below that an overtaking driver has priority, no, he doesn't have any priority whatsoever. Has no priority whatsoever. So if you've got no priority, you've got to back out. You've got to yield. The car that's in front is the car with the priority, entitled to take the line it wants. If you then collide with it, it's your fault because you've hit it from behind.
So it's a really tricky situation, but that sort of start in that type of corner, the switchback is...
It's a really tricky situation. But that kind of start, that kind of simple, Jensen. Rules of engagement apply at every corner of every racetrack, on every lap of every racetrack. Yeah? Yeah, that's why they're standardized rules of engagement. Yeah, they're universal because they work everywhere for every situation. Not just on that kind of corner, on that kind of racetrack, on that kind of lap. It can be this. Oh, manipulation, isn't it, cocksucker?
is a really tricky thing to do and get away with.
It's a risky thing to do, isn't it? Because there's always, especially when you start at the front, there's a pack of cars coming behind you. Let's look.
It's a risky thing to do. Well, it is, okay, but he's not in the wrong. Okay, he's not in the wrong. It is risky because what you're doing, you're placing your trust in the competence of the other drivers, and clearly Hulkenberg didn't do what he was supposed to do. And therefore, what you've done, you've put yourself at danger of being hit by somebody that shouldn't be hitting you, and therefore paid the consequence from that. But it wasn't his fault. He wasn't in the wrong. But with experience, he may drive a little bit more like Lewis Hamilton tends to drive, which is trying to make sure that there's a bit of a safety margin in there where if there is people there, he tries to give them a bit of room so he doesn't get hit. Like I say, it doesn't always happen. We'll no doubt get the wank rags in the comment section that want to tell us, oh, well, here's an example of where Lewis Hamilton got hit. Ha 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 ha. No, all right, Colin, well done. Thanks for your valuable insight.
Look at it from a different perspective. Fernando Alonso. Now, Alonso, we know, made a decent start, but the opportunistic part was the lunge now across the left-hand side.
Right. So where's Alonso relative to Hulkenberg? Prior to braking zone, right? Is he halfway alongside Hulkenberg? Yeah. We can say here Alonso is halfway alongside Hulkenberg, therefore has earned the right to track room. There's Piastri's car. There's Hulkenberg's car. They're ahead. Is Hulkenberg up here, halfway alongside Piastri? Has Hulkenberg earned the right to track room going around this corner? No, he hasn't. So you've got to back out of this one, Hulkenberg.
Which you would do. And it was all looking okay, wasn't it? Because again, look.
It was all looking okay. Why is Hulkenberg carrying on? His race is here with Alonso. He's fully behind Oscar Piastri. That is the apex of the corner, and he's fully behind. Where prior to the apex, prior to the corner, has Hulkenberg got his front tyres alongside Piastri's wingman? Oh, he hasn't, has he? He hasn't.
Look at this point. If I was in that cockpit, I'm looking at those McLarens, I'm expecting Oscar to carry on there.
Well, that's why you never did very well in Formula One, Karun, because I was expecting something different to what actually happened, okay? Well, what you've got to have is the ability to not expect something. You've got to have the ability to react to what's actually happening. Oh, but I thought something else might have happened. It didn't happen, and it all went to shit. Yeah. Well, don't go thinking in future, okay? Because some people don't know how to think, all right? React to what's real and react to what's actually taking place. All right? Evidence, real stuff, okay? Not think, not theory.
I would say, yep. But that's obviously Oscar to carry on there, I would say.
I was expecting, you see, you see, Oscar, Karen, you're not really reading this very well. Okay, can you not see that? In fact, we go back a little bit further. Can you not see? Right, this is Fernando. This is. Let's have a look. How
Was the
this
lunge
unfolds.
now across the left-hand side.
Okay, this is Hulkenberg. Piastri is actually slightly ahead of Norris. What are you expecting, Karoon?
Which you would do. And it was all looking okay, wasn't it? Because again,
And now, what have you seen? You've seen Oscar slow down. What would you expect that Oscar's going to do now, having slowed down, rather than try and brave it out around the outside? If you're able to see, oh, what's he doing now? He was slightly ahead, but now what he's done is yielded, and he's going to slot in behind, isn't he? To try and get a better exit of this corner, isn't he? Oh, is that what you would expect, Karen? Oh, perhaps. Have we ever seen anything like that take place before, Karen? You know, the switcheroo, yeah? Have we ever seen that before? Is that what you do rather than try and brave it out around the outside and risk, and especially when you're seeing Lando here, okay? Not coming tight to this apex. You know, he's keeping it wide out there, keeping you out wide. So, oh, actually, you're trying to keep me out wide. I'll switch under here. Would you expect that? Would you, Karen?
look at this point. If I was in that cockpit, I'm looking at those McLarens, I'm expecting Oscar to carry on there. I would
See, is that what you'd expect, Karen? See, this is one of the reasons why you won't get a drive in Formula One again, because you're a C-nut, okay? And, you know, you're making the wrong choices, okay? But don't worry about it.
say, yep. But that's obviously not what happens. And Fernando, you know, again, you know, he had space. He wasn't really going to make contact with Nico until it all.
You see, Fernando, I can't blame Fernando Alonso there. He was in a race with Nico Hulkenberg. I mean, you know, ultimately, Oscar's situation he'd have been assessing what line Oscar was permitted to take around that corner based on the threat posed by Hulkenberg. Was Hulkenberg in a position to challenge Oscar Piastri around that corner? No, he was not. Fernando Alonso was behind Hulkenberg, so therefore Fernando's not in a position to be able to challenge Oscar. The responsibility lies with Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg had to back out. Had Hulkenberg backed out, Alonso would have made an easy pass. Okay? Had Piastri then turned across Alonso, well, Alonso wasn't in a position to be challenging Piastri, and that would have been, would that collision have taken place? We don't know. That's a hypothetical. Okay? The bottom line is, Hulkenberg was in the meat in the sandwich. But he shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been there. Just should not have been there.
You know, again, you know, he had space. He wasn't really going to make contact with Nico until it all got smelly, I think. And unfortunately for him, his car's in fact just being wheeled past the sky pad. You can't see it here, it's on the other side of the camera. But unfortunately for him,
it's always very difficult when you make it three wide into turn one on any corner, because this corner really opens up and then it gets really pinches you at the apex. But I thought that was a good move by Fernando. It was risky, but it looked like it was all going to plan. Hulkenberg knew he was there. There was enough room for three abreast, but they just didn't anticipate that Oscar was going to try and get the switch.
No issues with Fernando Alonso's move. Okay, the issue is with Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg was not in a position to make the attack on Oscar Piastri, had to yield. Oscar was entitled to take the line he wished around that corner. He wasn't mindful that there were cars all behind him and piling into that corner. Those cars that were behind him piling in that corner will have had to have driven appropriately. They didn't drive appropriately. Hulkenberg did not drive appropriately. And hence, what we saw there is Oscar Piastri's race ended, Lando Norris's races ended, Alonso's race ended because of Hulkenberg, and whoever else's race ended. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I will continue this analysis because we'll see what these two pricks at the SkyPad have to continue to say, along with Lazenby, another CNET. Thank you for your time.